Thank you for coming another week. This is the second installment of a series of talks about all things sustainability and fashion that we will be hosting in collaboration with my very good friend and inspirational lady, Araceli Gallego. Today's topic is the NGO Complex, or also known as the non-profit mentality that a lot of sustainability advocates tend to fall into. We're going to talk about what it is, we're going to talk about what it's dangerous, and we're going to talk about what would be a better way. And now, to help me figure this thing out is the lovely Araceli Gallego. Hi, welcome Araceli. You look lovely today.
Thank you.
I love the earrings.
So much. You see?
And I know those earrings. These are from, yes,
Georgia.
From
Georgia. These are from my very good friend Lali.
Yes,
and
I met
Lali. Silk cocoon and silk. And silk is also, the strands are also silk. And she does them by hand. She showed me the pictures with how she was dyeing the silk by hand and how she was drying it and how she was very carefully opening the cocoon.
Yeah, I met Lali in Georgia, and it's amazing the stories that she has. We will link her information in the description. But
buy
it's
her stuff, guys, because she's amazing. She deserves every support.
Yes. Okay, so we have a really cool topic today. Whenever I talk about what I call the NGO complex, I get either confused faces or angry faces. Basically, what I mean with the NGO complex is I have noticed that everyone who is an advocate for sustainability, but is rather trying to build a business with a positive impact practice, they feel somewhat ashamed for still trying to turn a profit or for not doing as much as they can do, right? They tend to put themselves at the same standards as activists. And this is because I think in our cultural understanding, we identify sustainability the same way that we identify human rights, civil rights, women's rights. We identify them with activism, right? With those people who dedicate their life to the sole purpose of raising awareness and changing the world, right? But a business, it's something very different than an NGO and an activist, right? To begin with, profits, NGOs are non-profit organizations, and business kind of need to turn a profit to survive, right? From your perspective, Ada, because you are a sustainable business owner, so who best to talk about these things? Have you noticed this, that you somewhat feel guilty for trying to calculate margins and trying to think about how to have a better working business?
Totally. It is. Yeah. When I read about the NGO complex, it's like, okay, hi, my name is Araceli. I suffer from NGO complex. Because it's so true what you are saying. The fact that you are working on something that you truly believe, because otherwise you really don't go for this kind of business that are very niche, and they are, like as you say, it is based on things that are difficult to attain. So we are passion entrepreneurs, whoever is working on this, and you know very, very well.
Yes, I literally wrote the book about it. Yeah.
Yes, and when I was reading your book, I was feeling like, oh, this is me. Oh, so my God, this is so much me. Oh my God, like I had to take notes and have them here with me, and every day I was like, okay, I need to try to fix a little bit of the characteristics of the passion entrepreneur. And this is one of those things that really is difficult, I find, because you like so much what you are doing. You are so passionate about it. You really want to create an impact. You really want to help, and on top of that, you really is out of your heart. It's something that you would be doing. But then if we really want to make our business successful, and that's the only way really, because at least in this country where I am living now, in UAE, we do not have grants for UAE, financial support for companies that are, are working on towards sustainability or towards anything of the sort. We do really need to become profitable fast, otherwise.
Yes. This is something that in my notes I have written, like there are also cultural differences depending on who you are based. If you're watching this video, if you come from, let's say, ultra capitalist, business centric countries like the UAE or the United States, which is one of the biggest, business drivers of the world, still the number one. I think China is coming close, but still number one. It's even more there because it's money centered and it's business centered. Regulations are money centered and politics are money centered. It's even more visible how when you say things like sustainability or you say inclusion, it automatically translates in people's minds as anti-business. And this is dangerous. And it's not exactly the same in Europe. Yeah. We need to find that for several reasons, but we also need to understand, first of all, what sustainability as a word means. Because right now we think sustainability and we think environmental conservation, which is a part of sustainability. Sustainability means for a business to be sustainable, what it means is you can continue doing this for a long time and it's going to get you similar results. The problem is that as a human culture, this is not sustainable, and we do have a deadline. We have a clear deadline by when we need to exert certain changes. Otherwise, cities are going to start disappearing and nations we're going to be suffering for environmental refugees. So this is a real problem. This is a global problem that requires global solutions. So for people who actually care about these issues or that understand them, to understand their intentions as a niche, as you just said, this is a very dangerous predicament. This cannot be niche. If this continues being niche, we're fucked. I might beep this later, I don't know. But if concepts like sustainability,
we are doomed.
Yeah, we are doomed. We are kaput. So it cannot be niche. And the only way for this to not be niche is to make environmental sustainability compatible and aligned with financial and cultural sustainability, which we cannot do if everyone who is already convinced that this is important goes and takes an ultra-orthodox approach to their business practices for mainly two reasons. Reason number one, business cannot succeed like that. And reason number two, and I think this is very important as well, when you adopt an ultra-orthodox approach, people tend to tear each other down. I see this a lot if you go to the comment section of any brand in Instagram that is saying that they are sustainability or that they have sustainability angles or practices, do you see half of the people is kind of criticizing something like, how can you say that you're sustainable if you're doing this? How can you say that you're sustainable if you're doing what? When people who care about the same thing are more worried about tearing each other down than actually constructing a culture that can lift everybody up, this is also very counterproductive. And you've seen this with your project itself, right?
We have all the time debates with not only with our designers but also with our customers, right? Because there's so many different angles and so many different views. If, for example, you are a vegan, maybe you think that having leather is terrible. But for other people, maybe actually having recycled bottles, RPET fabrics are also terrible. So you really you need to find your way, but at the end of the day, I am totally with you. I hate this culture of putting people down. It doesn't make any sense. We need to work together. We need to spread the news. We need to build each other up. Be happy for everybody's successes. If they are not going, we know this, you're also into sustainability, and you know this is a long-term journey, and it's never going to be 100% perfect, because whether we like it or not, we have an impact, and we need to just come to terms to the fact that we have an impact.
Yes.
So we are trying to do it better, and it's iteration, and it's working together, and it's finding new solutions, and maybe someone along the line finds something else, and we can start introducing that into our processes. It's not going to be done overnight. It's a work in progress, and we need to be happy with whatever is being done by whoever is doing it, because we have a greater impact if 1 zillion people do a small change than if, as you said, the ultra orthodox, we change the whole thing, and doesn't make any sense. It's
and this doesn't mean
to have a bigger impact. We need to see the bigger picture and the impact it's creating.
Yeah,
it's true with the greenwashing. There is this problem with the greenwashing, and I think greenwashing is something that is doing harm in a way to our own industry. Let's put it like that, to our own niche about sustainability, because it's been thrown at people. Maybe a little bit as a way to punish them, like, oh, you're saying that you're sustainable. No, maybe I'm saying, like, I change my tax because I want to be more sustainable. I see all the time in social media this kind of conversation. Oh, that's greenwashing, and then you are like, boo,
you're cancelled. And this is very dangerous also, because a lot of these comments are done from, I understand it's a place of concern, but it's also a place of, I don't want to say ignorance, but misinformation, or like not accurate information. Like I remember there was a polemic about, they have found a box of H&M labels in a natural park in Sri Lanka, and then there was like this huge cancel call out for H&M. And having worked in the industry and knowing, first of all, how it works, that probably H&M had no control about the delivery routes of the labels, and they might not even be from the supplier that H&M has. Things happen, and this is horrible and shouldn't happen, but it's not like the buyer from H&M was on the phone and they said, we have extra 200 labels, what do we do? Dump them in the forest. That's not gonna happen. Like, it doesn't happen, because it's way more complicated than that. And second, you cannot like H&M because it's fast fashion or whatever, and that's very reputable. I mean, it's your opinion. However, of the fast fashion companies, it's probably the one that's investing more resources. Right. I don't even think it's trying. I think they're smart and they're seeing what is happening. And it's we need to understand H&M. It's Swedish, right? Yeah. So Swedish, the countries, the Nordic countries are one of the most heavily regulated in terms of sustainability. Also because are the ones that have the more they have a lot of small islands and things that can't really disappear if this happens. So they also have a lot to lose, but they're heavily regulated in terms of sustainability. For them, it's a no-brainer. It is something that they have to be done. It's a very different mentality than what you have in the US, and this is also very cultural. But for example, in the same week that thing happened, there were also the news that H&M had created, together with the Hong Kong Institute of Textiles and one of their main suppliers, they have developed this machine that they call the green machine, that is able to separate polyester from cotton on polycotton blends. So this is something that has tremendous impact and requires a big deal of innovation, funds, resources, and talent. So you need to see one thing against the other. And as bad as it is to having littering in national parks, the negative impact of that versus the potential positive impact of a groundbreaking technology that allows you to separate and then recycle the two most, like probably the most used blend
in the world,
in the industry, it is undeniable. But there is this anti-business mentality that is dangerous. And activists need to have this, because activism, it's about breaking boundaries, it's about holding people responsible, it's about going to the extreme, right? But a business cannot be in that extreme. You need to think differently.
We need, or at least act differently. I mean, I'm part of Fashion Revolution, you know that. I'm country coordinator for UAE. I'm also Remake ambassador. So I am myself personally, I am an activist.
Yes, wait,
so
this was the news we couldn't tell last month.
Yes.
Remember? Can you explain a little bit more what it is, just in case people don't know?
Oh, okay. So last week we were like, no, we can't say, but this time we can tell you, so that I've been appointed the Fashion Revolution country coordinator for UAE. I'm super happy and thrilled, and we are already putting together the Fashion Revolution Week for April. We have launched already the student competition for students to work on sustainable fabrics or upcycle with, sustainable techniques. So we are super excited to do all that together. On top of that, I'm also Remake ambassador, and every month we have a call. And so I have, me personally, I can feel maybe a little more on the activist side, but then the business is very different than that, as you very well said. And it's difficult sometimes to divide. And then it goes back again to the NGO complex that we were talking about. So it's kind of like a mix of everything, like, because it's something that you are doing it and you love and you are passionate about and you want things to change. And for this, I always think that I am privileged, really privileged, because I have two positions where I can create an impact. So on one side, I'm as an activist, I can be part of this movement. I can be helping my colleagues from UK and from the US, try to bring change, and then facilitate my neighbors and the citizens of the UAE with my business. So for me, it makes all total sense. But it's true that the roles are a little bit different. And this is why the NGO complex, I guess, is there with me, right? Because you have a passion that you are working on, and you are doing it also 100% of your free time too. You're constantly thinking how I can bring this, how can I explain this, how can I educate about these to more people, how can I facilitate, right? So this is the NGO complex. Then later, when you are actually, how can I do it? I can do it through my own business. I can facilitate. In my case, I started GoShopia out of my own frustration because I couldn't find sustainable clothes in the market here. And that way is like, okay, it makes a circle kind of a thing. People that, if I'm super stubborn and I was about to end up in Zara, then let's just facilitate people that are in the same journey as I am. So for me, it's a way to finalize and do the whole 360 degrees of assistance and facilitating other people to embrace sustainable lifestyle, and also helping and supporting artisans, indigenous peoples, all you name it, because as you said, sustainability is a whole, there's no one good angle or bad angle. Everything actually is working together. We just need to be open and embrace whatever angle the people are coming into. Because you may start ditching plastic, but maybe in the future you are able to implement other things, So I think it's a work in progress for all of us. All of us, we cannot say that we are 100% sustainable. At least I cannot.
Yes, that is impossible. As long as you're living and breathing, you are generating waste and you are getting, sucking out oxygen. So no, a human mass extinction would be the only way to be fully sustainable as humanity, and I don't think anyone is trying to accomplish that. So I think another part of the NGO complex is that there are several concepts that people associate with activist work, which are working for different things, and people also tend to have this idea that they need to tick all of the boxes. because if we try to think this rationally, environmental sustainability, so trying to reduce the emissions, because we do have a very clear deadline of when are we going to have serious problems if the temperature keeps rising, right? So climate change is important. It's important that it's happening. Social disparities are important, are happening, but are two different issues. However, I see responsible business owners, they feel that they need to solve all of the world's problems at once, and this is an impossible feat to set up you to do.
It is, and you feel bad because you really try, and it's in your heart really to try to do that. You really, it's a fight that you have with yourself. You would want to do more, and you would want to do everything. Basically, you want to plant trees, and you want to support this, and you want to support that, because there's so many. We have as a human community worldwide, we have a lot of issues to sort out, and it's difficult sometimes to choose your battles, because it's true that when you read about, oh, this is happening over there, oh my God, how can I help? It's all the time like that. Really, it's true, very true what you're saying. The NGO complex is there with us. That's for real. But this is the thing about what you're saying. We feel like we need to tick all the boxes, but it's not like there is 3 boxes. It's that those boxes have a lot of sub boxes.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh, how can I try to be better at this? How can I do better at this? How can I help this community, or how can I help this problem, or how can is like that? It's true. The NGO complex is.
So against the NGO complex, or I guess against this non-profit mentality, which is dangerous for businesses, and it doesn't help the cause, in my opinion, I think instead of thinking as an activist, business owners and advocates, which is not the same to be an advocate as to be an activist, need to see themselves as positive impact businesses. Okay, so you are a business, but you are trying to infer a positive impact through your activity and through your products and through your growth, because the more you grow, when you build a business on a positive impact model, the bigger you are, the bigger your impact, right? Imagine if, I don't know, Microsoft had a capitalist angle during the 90s and the 90s, then there will not be Gates Foundation today, right? So you can make money and do good things with the money, and if your business grows, grows to an extent, you can hire more people, you can make sure that the people you hire are cared for, that you're not discriminating against other communities. Like, you can grow and have this positive impact business having more positive impact, but you need to think like a business and not like an activist.
And I want to say, if Belinda or Bill Gates is watching this video, I don't know, like as I mentioned, if their ears are flipping now, guys, we are here, and you can do so much good supporting this small business owner that is trying to create a bigger impact. Very true. Yes. I agree with you, because it's true. Microsoft had a time to develop, and in my case, my business is very small and we are very new, so we still have 20 years ahead to grow, 30 years to grow. But this is the thing, and this is very important. They change and revolutionize how we work today, right? We have all laptops, and we're working all on systems. And my dream is that in the future we are able to do the same with sustainability. And it doesn't need to be necessarily through niche, as you said. Let's try to make it niche.
It can be niche. If it stays niche, it's not going to work. It's as easy as that. If sustainability stays niche, we are doomed, and there's no planet for the next generation. So in order to be mainstream, we need to unlink this activist and sustainability together, because And again, this is very different depending on where you are. But in countries like US, this is used as a political weapon because they are fomenting that idea that sustainability is niche and is an activist thing and is an ultra-liberal thing, and then using it as a political weapon to get votes. So even if a person personally would agree that climate change is real and it's something we need to do something about, they might not say so because of political goals. And this is not possible to do if we as a culture unlearn this, right?
Yeah.
It's also a generational thing.
There is certain things that are human, and we should be really totally unlinked from blues, reds, whites, or blacks, or yellows, or oranges, from whatever color the politicians are. We should actually think as a community, as a worldwide community, and no matter what color, work all together. And I agree with you that it's something that becomes a political topic, and sometimes, as you said, even a weapon. But there is certain things that by now we all know we cannot play with health, because as the human race we cannot play with education, because we are already ready to move the whole world forward. There is ways to educate the whole population, and we cannot play with sustainability because it's our own survival what is at stake.
But we understand this, but this is not a given that everybody knows. And it's not a given that everybody knows because it's been used as a political weapon, and because individual circumstances are different. So of course, if you are talking to a small county in the US where the main source of income for everybody there is coal mines, and you tell them, okay guys, we need to get rid of the coal mines by 15 years, obviously they're not going to be happy about it. And obviously the politician that is saying, no, we're not going to allow you to lose your source of income, it's the good guy in their storyline, is the good guy. And this is why it's so important.
But there are ways that we need to transition to that, and I think a good politician will say, okay guys, this is coming, we need to start transitioning, you're going to be doing this training, and we're going to be trained in renewable energies, and from coal mines we're going to be actually harnessing the power of the sun or the wind or whatever other resources there are over there. And that way they don't feel they're losing a job, but they are preparing themselves for the next generation of jobs, because those jobs might going to be eventually disappearing anyway. So this is the thing, we need to stop the bullshit of politicians when they're playing with this, with populism. We really need to consider what is best for in the long term, and people also need to stop being short-term thinkers and think like, okay, in the long term this is going to provide me better income, more safety, more certainty, and a future job, and my landscape is going to be preserved. There's all the better ways.
Here's the thing, and I'm quite cynical, in general with everything. You said a good politician is looking for the good of the country. A good leader is looking for the good of the country. A good politician is very good at getting votes. And this is where the disconnect is happening. However, why I want to talk about the NGO complex, and I'm not going to talk about whatever politics, because the politics can only play with our fears and our understanding and our culture. So if the people who care about sustainability are demonizing positive impact businesses, are demonizing each other because they have a different perspective, you are giving fuel to those politicians who are going to play against you. So you cannot, we cannot, you and me, unless we wanted to go into politics, which I don't, we can't influence that except with our vote. However, we can help other positive impact entrepreneurs to succeed without feeling guilty because they're trying to run a business on a profitable way. That is what we can do. I like to think about sustainability as healthy habits for the planet, right? Imagine you decide you want to have healthier habits. Having healthier habits doesn't necessarily have to mean that you're gonna go fully vegan, you're gonna go to the gym every day, you're gonna stop drinking alcohol altogether, you're going to eliminate all sugar. Will all these things help you be even more healthy? Yes, but that doesn't mean that if what you decide is, oh, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut sugar and I'm going to go to the gym twice a week. This doesn't mean that you are not making an effort. You can always do more, but you should celebrate the things that you're already doing because they have an impact. In the same way that, for example, there's a chocolate like spread, like Nutella-ish thing in Spain. Mm-hmm. And since this whole palm oil started, Nutella has palm oil, so they removed the palm oil from their formula and they put it on the label. So it's healthier. It's still a freaking chocolate spread. It's not a banana, but it is healthier. So a lot of people could say, this is bullshit. You should not even making this because it's healthy and it's making kids fat. Or you should say, this is a good initiative. I want Nutella also to stop using palm oil. You know what I mean? It is a positive. It's like building each other up instead of tearing everything down because it's not perfect.
I think we are all in a journey and we really need to embrace that. No matter what, every small change counts for me at least. And it's true that the big ones, sometimes we criticize the big ones on the activist side. I just say maybe I don't feel you mentioned before there is a difference between activist and advocate, and I feel maybe I'm more on the advocate side than actually activist.
Yeah, I think so. For me, an activist is a person who all that they do is, Greenpeace people. This is activist work and there is advocacy work. From my point of view, it's different.
It's different. You feel the colors the same way, but you act differently. In my case, I feel more identified actually with advocacy, and I think it's more educational and less stressful for people too. Also for people that you are interacting with. So what was I about to say? I forgot. But basically, but basically every little change is important, is adding to the equation. And as you very well said, we are running out of time. So instead of criticizing one another, let's try to help each other. For example, here in the UAE, there is not too many businesses doing sustainable stuff. So I created a concept of a sustainable souk, and it's like a little market, and we have a 360-degree business that are working on sustainability. And you may think of a market like, it's a market like we also have electric vehicles, we also have water filtration systems. All that actually is helping to avoid having less emission, helping to avoid the usage of plastic bottles. So all that is part of our intent to create change. And this is super important, that we have to lift each other up. We have to try to cooperate and collaborate together rather than, like I push you away or I troll your Instagram or whatever. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So
and there's another thing that it's important to understand, because as I said, I see there's like an anti-business spirit that it's kind of attached to the NGO complex. Anti-business in the sense of anti-big business, anti-big companies. Big companies are evil and big profit companies are evil. But there's again something really important we need to understand, that a real sustainable industry, or many of the industries that need to be more sustainable, it's going to require a humongous investment in R&D, in research and development, and in innovation. And innovation is a trial and miss game. You can invest $50 million into something that doesn't pan out. So the only people who can afford to make these investments are huge companies with a very, very big profit margin, and they need that. So we cannot demonize these businesses. We should.
I think in reality there is a place for everyone. I think the market is big enough for all of us in reality. So there is maybe no need to demonize, but what we can do is try to actually, as you very well said, in the case of Nutella, why don't we ask Nutella to replace palm oil? If someone already found a way to do it, then they can also integrate it in the formula, right? I think that's the way to go. we're going to be always needing big business. And even if there is not big business, there's always going to be the bigger business, So there is always going to, because we're not going to be totally equal. That's it. What we can do is try to ask and be, and this is the power that we now have as consumers, that we can actually ask for things. We can almost send directly a message through Instagram or through Twitter or whatever, and we are directly reaching out to the brands, any kind of brand, fashion or not fashion. Basically, like before, all the communications were from the brands to the consumers. Now it can be actually bi-directional, and that is fantastic because feedback is so important for us as a business. Is so important. It makes us pivot, it makes us change, it gives us a different angle and perspective about what is important for our peers, and that is what is actually fantastic. So I think this anti-big business, maybe from the activist side there is something of that, but in reality it's not that.
But activists can be, this is what I want to differentiate. Activists can be anti-business. That's not a problem, because an activist's job is to make noise, but a positive impact business cannot. And there's another thing.
We have a different way of doing things. We are more concentrated on the impact that we can create within our realm, within our actions. Trying to make sure that everybody working with us is happy, trying to make sure everybody's getting what they should, and trying to improve our systems is a whole lot of work already.
Yes.
We don't really need to be interfering with someone else's business, because running your own business is already so much work, So I'm trying to improve it and constantly be thinking how to make it better, how to be more responsible, because as you very well say, we have this checklist that has a lot of sub categories and then sub categories, and this is all self-imposed, because the more you learn and the more you read and the more you listen and the more you are in the movement, you realize it's a never-ending task. You can always forever, would be 100 years, we will still be having an impact no matter how hard we try. So I think we have to just, at the beginning I was a little bit in an agony, if I can be super honest, because I was feeling that anguish of like, oh my God, I want to do this, I want to do that, how can I do this, how can I do that? And you don't reach, you can only do what you can do. So it's true that this not profit mentality also, because we are coming back in and out. Everything is related, but we are kind of like circumventing the topic.
Yeah.
It's also part of it, because you feel wrong because you are charging for your services, because you are charging for what you're offering. But then how can it be sustainable in the long term if it financially or economically is not sustainable? My impact will be finished by,
Just think about if I gave away everything I have and all the money that I have, and I killed myself in right next to the hospital by holding my organ donor thing, I would literally be giving everything that I have, but I will have a much lesser impact than if I continue working for myself and for other people and just trying to make as much positive impact as you can. Giving the most is not always necessarily having the best, like the better impact. It is not like that. We need to stop seeing money as evil also, because money can make very good things as well. And again, this is highly cultural. I think people who come from people from Europe, or even from countries that are not necessarily democratic, but they are more socialized. Thinking about Vietnam, which is totalitarian, but they have a very strong sense of community, against countries based on savage capitalism, where it feels like you can only win if somebody loses. But that's not the case. We don't have to split the cake. We can make the cake bigger. This is the phenomenal thing about the society that we're living in, that we just keep making the cake bigger. There was something important that I wanted to say.
Maybe because I am a firm believer of the law of universe. I think there is really room for everyone, and I think there is space for everyone. And we just have to carve, we just have to carve our way into what we really are to become. Same as the little, like the little butterflies on their way out. you start a project, you nurture it, you grow, you end up in the cocoon. Today we're talking about cocoons. I get the inspiration maybe from that. And then when you come out as something different and beautiful. But all that process is a process, and we need to embrace the process. And it's true that we have on the process, at least as a business owner, because before I used to work for third parties and I used to work in corporate, you have to change and shed a lot of limiting beliefs. And this NGO complex non-profit mentality is a limiting belief, I feel. It's related to something that you believe, you don't know why. It's something ingrained in you. First of all, you feel guilty to do money because you like this too much. It must be not good.
But this is also something that we need to unlearn, because somewhere down the line we learn that work is pain and it's something that you hate doing, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like that. When I have a mentoring or a consulting session with a person and we are both enjoying this a lot, and then they're happy to pay you because they got a lot of value from it. It doesn't have to be like that. Yeah, it doesn't have to be like that.
And this is so true, because we have this. I always, and you know me long enough, I only work in things that I like and enjoy. Otherwise, I'm miserable and I leave. That's it. End of the story. I have a good resume to find a job in whatever I think of. So really, I've always kept my energy as happy as possible in the job place, because if I don't like it, I just leave. That's it. There's choices, there's opportunities out there, and life is too short to be miserable. And if you're going to be spending 8 hours, 10 hours in a job that is making you unhappy, just move your ass out of it. So I preach by what I said, really, because all the time I did that. Only one time I stayed longer, and at the end it resulted in something positive. But there is nothing wrong with actually being happy.
It's actually pretty cool being happy. There's really nothing wrong. And
money, it brings you stability. Money brings you the possibility to grow, to invest in your business, to be able to expand your reach, to improve your processes. So we don't have to be scared or afraid or feel guilty about money and the money that we are doing, because it's the only way to grow.
You know, another thing, and here is where I'm going to get some enemies. Another problem.
I think in the other part also, Adela.
Yeah, you know, I always say, because I've been wanting to promote myself as a speaker, but you know, the pandemic, I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm rather like a grounding person. I'm not the person who's going to
tell it. You tell it how you feel it, and you tell, no bullshit, no nothing around. You just go straight to your thoughts, and I think that's fantastic. To me, that is.
If you like it, you like it. If you don't need to listen to me. So this is the beauty of the internet.
Yeah, no, but what I mean is, as a consultant, I don't want someone, I'm thinking your job. That's why I think you are so fantastic at what you do. If you're hiring someone as a consultant to tell you, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, to what you are already doing, honestly, you don't need it, you know? So that's why I like you, and you challenge things, and you're always straight, and you tell things how they are, and I think that's the fantastic value that you can bring. They may take it or not, but I think
I also don't take jobs when I don't think I can help. I will very honestly tell the person, I don't think I am what you need. I maybe can help you find somebody else, because I respect my time and the other person's time. So I do have no time in my life for bullshit. Anyway, the thing that is going to win me some enemies, and I don't know if you're going to like it either. And I'm not saying one or the other is better, but there is a difference between, and they're normally, I'm not going to say mutually exclusive, but inversely proportional. Executing your vision exactly as how you want it, right? And causing the most positive impact possible. These are normally not the same. And this is, let's say, something limiting about the non-profit mentality and the activist mentality, because most people who feel very strongly about certain positive impact causes will always want to do things their way. So they will go the entrepreneurial route, which is great. But this is a problem, because we need this kind of people also inside organizations and inside the government. right? We need them everywhere. And when a person that has ideas, that has the passion, it's so anti-business that will never take a job on a company where they can have a fantastic impact, it's limiting to the cause. It's obviously gonna help you, feel more, it's gonna help you feel more accomplished, and you're gonna be living your dream, but it's gonna have a lesser impact. And now I'm not here to say this is wrong or this is wrong, but we need to understand that those are two different things. And maybe a person who is working inside a huge company and trying to push the boundaries, even if so little, it's not a sell-off, and they shouldn't get harassed and they shouldn't be questioned, because this is an important job that also has to be done. If everyone who has good intentions decides to build their own company, small businesses have lesser capacity of having a big impact.
I think it really depends on how you feel about the particular cause. For example, I'm not anti-big business necessarily, but I got offered once a job at a tobacco company.
Well, yeah, that's the different thing.
And I am anti-tobacco. So then I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I turned it down. Really, I didn't feel like I cannot be here when I've been telling.
No, it's not about
all my friends.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
that's not
cigarette.
That's not what I mean.
But yeah, maybe inside I could have created different impacts or whatever. I could learn more about the industry and whatever. But in reality, what I think is like there is one change that I am seeing positively. Like for example, now banks have a sustainability department or something of the sort. They have a climate change ministry, for example. And these kind of things are starting to change because they are starting to realize that having a person, even if it's only one person that is paying attention to the whole process and how to make it better for the environment, actually only by one extra salary, you can make such a big impact. And not only that is you're creating impact for the environment, you're also saving money. Because
yes, of course.
Most of the times when you are implementing this kind of things and you have someone thinking about how to make it better, you're also saving money. Like I spoke the other day with a golf course, right? And the golf course, you may think like, oh my God, that's totally unsustainable business. But they're trying to make it better. And for example, they instead, normally in the golf courses here, because the heat is terrible, they used to give plastic bottles to all the golfers. Now they give, when they part of their membership, they have a stainless steel bottle, and they are totally ditching plastic. That's a fantastic way to actually start being greener, even though it's not a green business at all.
Yes.
But they're improving. Then they also created solar panels to where the cars park, so that the parking lots now, there's shade, so it's fantastic because here the sun is terrible. But on top of that, it's producing energy and they're saving money. They have less to pay when it comes to fuel. Just by thinking before, we need shade. No, wait 1 minute. We need shade, but we're gonna make something else out of it. So I was so surprised when I was going through the golf course to see how little things here and there. Like for example, they have two for electric vehicles. They have chargers there. So it's fantastic. They're trying to do things differently within their business, and I'm super happy because as we were talking about, it's not a business that is the culminant of sustainability. It is not. It is still a golf course in the desert, but they are trying to make things different in what they can change, try to make it a little bit better. And I salute them, and I appreciate the fact that someone is thinking about that. And this is because someone inside their head office has a role of only being seen and watching for opportunities. And I think this would be something that is more generic, because I'm happy that here is starting. It would be fantastic.
This is something that is starting, but I guess maybe with an example it's easier. You have already a certain name as a sustainability advocate for fashion in the region. Imagine, and you are collaborating with all of them. If Shalou, for example, called you and they said, we want to create the position of sustainability, head of sustainability, and they offered you the job, or if a big fashion company called you and offered you the job of head of sustainability, a lot of people will think you're a sellout. No? Maybe I'm wrong. But a lot of
maybe
people
you're right.
have this anti-business thing.
Maybe you are right. I actually kind of like, I'm in a moment in my life that I stopped caring about what people think about me. But if maybe I was younger, maybe I would have cared. But as you said, I think you have to work out what works for you and also what works better for what is important for you. Like, for example, in the case of the tobacco company, I really rejected it because it has nothing to do with me, nothing. But if Shalhoub calls me, by the way, who do you want to call? Like, there's a calling name. Mr. Gates, Mr. Shalhoub. Like, yeah, like I will be happy and open to collaborate, of course. Why not?
And I think sustainable designers need to consider this too. And building a brand is not easy. And it's also not the only way. If this is your dream and you want to do it, go ahead. I'm not here to. But they shouldn't feel wrong if you try to launch a brand and you are not finding your space in the market. Because I do think that there is space for everyone, but not necessarily. The space for you might not be exactly in the way you have in your head. That can happen. Yeah. But if you cannot manage and you get the opportunity to work at a company, do not think that you're betraying your values. A tobacco company is different, but like in your same, I think this is also important. I studied fashion design, and I remember when I was 16, I had like an existential crisis. I had decided I wanted to study fashion design when I was like 13. I had chosen the school and everything. But I had an existential crisis. Like, if I study fashion design, I'm not going to be helping people. Maybe I need to do something else. And then I was thinking I would go into psychology. And I was talking to, I went to Catholic school. So we used to treat I went to a Catholic school. And we used to treat the priest as a counselor, like as a, like a therapist. But he was super nice. And so we will go to confession to tell Padre Don Pedro, to tell him all our issues. Like, people will tell him about the problem with the boyfriends or whatever. And I told him this, like, I had decided I want to do this, but now I'm scared I'm not going to be able to help people. And he told me the amount of people that you have, the positive impact that you have, will have nothing to do with the job that you do and everything to do with whom you are as a person. You can be whatever and still have a huge positive impact on the people around you, on how you treat them. And that is the same. People need to understand that you can have great positive impact as a business owner, and you can have great positive impact as an employee. You can have, as long as you want to create a positive impact, you're going to be creating it. And you need to be in the right mind frame. You need to have time, you need to have energy, and you need to have money to create positive impact. So making your business succeed is not a bad thing. And we need to stop thinking about that way.
Yeah. I think it's a matter of mindset. How do we fix this? For example, as you said, like, now you're the priest and I come, okay, I have this non-profit mentality. How can we fix it? How can we unblock that? By talking, by listening. Like in my case, for example, it helped me a lot. Like, kind of like, because I realized initially, because I was used to be working for companies. So basically I was getting my salary every time. So when you are doing your own thing, you don't have that certainty anymore. You're actually putting more money than what you're getting most of the time, right? Especially when you start. So how do we break off that? In my case, like I do meditation. I try to this is something interesting that I read, and ever since it kind of like changed a little bit my perspective. I didn't know, because in our culture, I'm also Catholic. Money is like the beginning of all evil, as you said, right? Kind of.
Yes. And there's no place for the rich in the land of the Lord.
Yes. So the Judaism is totally different. They actually think that money is a way of God's energy to transform and improve our lives. So it's okay to have money. It is okay to create money. It is okay to want money. so it kind of like changed totally. It's like when you realize that, okay, I'm having this limiting belief, and maybe it's cultural, and you embrace that there are other people, other visions of the same thing. and it all depends on culture, then to me at least it breaks the magic of, okay, this is how I grew up. Maybe because I travel enough and I know like, okay, I can think differently. So many other people think differently. Why I cannot think differently about this topic, right? And it broke something within me, and it unlocked me not feeling guilty for wanting to have money out of my business, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a fantastic way maybe to help other people that maybe are listening to this. If you guys are going through the same and you're feeling guilty because you're getting paid for what you love, I think that is a godsend. Money wouldn't be here if God didn't want it to. So,
well, I
think the energy one way or another.
For limiting beliefs in general, I think the best way to unlearn them is to understand where they're coming from. You know, in therapy they say if we can name it, we can treat it. So we all have these biases and these acquired beliefs. If we understand where it's coming from, then you can say it makes sense, it doesn't make sense on one. So just question yourself, why am I thinking?
But if it makes sense or not, if it doesn't serve you, you have to be practical and just say go.
And also, very important as well, try to get involved and surround yourselves with people on your same mind frame. Because if a person trying to build a positive impact business in sustainability, for example, only talks to and gets advice from people also more on the activist side, this is going to add fuel to the flame. But if you talk to other business owners that might not be necessarily on the sustainability angle, but they're trying to build positive impact business, and I think most of the startup culture has a similar mind frame, you know, but it might be counterintuitive. If you start talking to people trying to build a business with a lot of things in mind beyond just money, this can also help you not feel that bad, because in some sectors the NGO complex is higher because are more emotionally driven, and sustainability in fashion is very emotionally driven because fashion is a product with a lot of emotional connotations. But if you talk someone building solar panels, for example, on a startup that is building solar panels, the end goal is the same, but the mentality is very different. You don't see as many people in sustainable tech having this huge NGO complex.
True.
So that's something that I would recommend.
And they also say that we are the average of the 5 people that we hang out more with, right? So it's important not like surround yourself with people that inspire you, that lift you up, that have a dream, that are working towards it, instead of people that are just
but also surround yourself with someone. If you're trying to build a business, surround yourself with someone who is very business mindset, because if you surround yourself only with other activists, then you are going to be stuck in the NGO complex forever. And if that's what you want, if you really feel, if you go to the root of the problem and you don't want to let it go, and you hang out with people who are most business minded and you disagree with them, then maybe let the business go and become an activist, which is also perfectly fine. I'm not here to say activism is really important and we need people to do that, but not everybody has to be an activist, and not everybody needs to burn all their possessions and their clothes and their money to be creating a positive impact.
True. We have to create a positive impact with what we have. That's the most sustainable thing to do, first of all. And we have to try to work together on this. That's the end of it. Big or small, whatever the role, whether activists, whether consumers, whether business, whether governments, we have to try to change the mindset to a more supportive one.
And we need ethical-minded people everywhere. We need ethical-minded people building new business, and we need ethical-minded people within the organizations and our governments and our international institutions. So there is a lot of ways in which we can make a positive impact. And I think that's all the time we have for now. Yes. So thank you so much again, as always. And now I have my notebook here, so I can say what it's next month, if I can find the list. Next month we're gonna talk about the different, it's very related to this, the different angles to sustainability in fashion. Because sometimes in the comments sections of Instagram, you will have the vegans going against the non-plastic people, and the minimalist going against the artisanal thing. Like, it is all it's a world with a lot of colors, so it is important to talk about all of these things. So we'll talk about this next month, Thursday, hopefully. First week. Until then, if you have any comments, let us know. I will list everything we talked about in the comments as well, and you will have the socials for Araceli and myself. If you want to send us any comments, I will hope to please keep the hate mail to yourselves. I've never gotten hate mail before, but I think some people might be angry at me after this. I hope not.
Let me tell you, she's lovely, okay? Do not hate her. She's actually lovely.
Don't hate me.
She speaks her mind, and I think that's very good.
And as we said, there is room for everybody.
If you don't like it, just don't listen to it. You're not harming anyone. It's just your opinion, and you can live that. So,
unless you're a tobacco company. Anyway.
But Melinda and Bill, you're invited to drop us any mail, hate or not.
Anyway, guys, thank you. Thank you, Ara. Good luck I know you need to run to your next meeting, so good luck, and we'll see you soon. Bye.